The government is from the Office of the President. The public is informed, and I think this has already passed, is overtaken by events. There is President Adama Barrow received the President of Senegal, Mr. Bassirou Diomaye Diakhar Faye, at the Banjul International Airport for a working visit focused on strengthening bilateral relations and regional cooperation between the two countries. The President of Senegal visited last week Saturday, and he spent almost the whole day here, having discussions with the President as part of efforts to further strengthen the ties between the two sister countries. The President also has accepted the resignation of the Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Mohamed O.A. Cham, following reported allegations of misconduct. Major General Usman Gomez has been appointed as Acting Chief of Defense Staff in line with constitutional provisions. In a separate engagement, the President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, hosted the TIBU Africa delegation from Morocco following the launch of the Generation Sportive Program in the Gambia. The initiative focuses on youth development, school sport, health, and skills training, with a long-term target of reaching over 600 public primary schools nationwide by 2030. This also is within the framework of government's policy to promote health, to promote education through sports. In the same vein, His Excellency President Adama Barrow, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, has directed the establishment of an independent board of inquiry to investigate the purported allegations leveled against the former Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Mohamed O.A. Cham, by his former PA, ex-Sergeant Modu Sen. In a press release, the Gambia Armed Forces stated that no substantive evidence for now has been established as indicated, and indicated that the institution will allow a thorough and impartial investigation process to take course. We have an update from the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education. In a press release, the ministry announced that a number of in-service graduates have had their status regularized following a recent exercise, while others remain unregularized and are requested to report with relevant documents for processing. The ministry also informed teaching and administrative staff not captured in the civil service verification exercise to participate in the final verification exercise scheduled from 1st to 15th of June 2026. Now, from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation, and Gambians abroad, they informed the public that the Gambia participated in the Korea-Africa Foreign Ministers meeting in Seoul, focusing on trade, investment, and digital transformation. Also on agriculture and human capital development. The ministry also issued a safety advisory for Gambians living in South Africa, following reports of xenophobic tensions in that country. And they have urged caution and engagement with diplomatic missions, and this was done through a press release. Now, the Ministry of Petroleum, Energy and Mines, in a press release, announced a subsidy intervention from the Gambia government, which has reduced, consequently, the gasoline prices from $120 per liter to $115 per liter. Like I said, it's supported by $150 million government subsidy to stabilize fuel costs. If you could recall, since the crisis in the Middle East began and the supply chains were disrupted insofar as energy is concerned, this is the third time the government has intervened through subsidies to ensure that prices for diesel and petrol are stabilized. In April, $300 million plus was subsidized. In May, $150 million, and now in June, another $150 million to ensure that we cushion the shocks that are caused by the global oil prices that have gone up due to the crisis in the Middle East. Now, the Ministry of Interior, through the Department of Immigration, has announced that it has received 6 patrol vehicles and 6 patrol vehicles to strengthen border security operations. And we all know the Gambia is facing challenges like most countries in the world. Obviously, migration is a crisis. And as part of our efforts to control our borders and to discourage irregular migration, the government has strengthened the capacity of the Gambia Immigration Department with 6 pickup vehicles, amongst other things, to ensure that they strengthen border security. Now, the Minister of Defense also announced that Major General Usman Gomez formally assumed duties as Acting Chief of Defense Staff, and he also paid a courtesy call to the Minister of Defense, reaffirming commitment to professionalism and national security. And yesterday, in a press release, the Ministry of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services announced that the Gambia has been ranked among top 10 most progressive economies in Africa in the 2026 Hello Safe Prosperity Index. The statement noted that the recognition reflects ongoing national reforms and progress in governance, economic stability, and social development under the leadership of His Excellency, President Adama Barrow. So these are the updates from government, from me, and now we move next to invite Nawek to come and give a presentation, after which we'll go to question and answers. Chati, is they ready? Okay, fine. All right, and thank you. I'll get questions from you as well on any issue when Nawek is done with their Q&A. Thank you. So somebody has to help you hold it, or you can. You'll hold it fine, ma'am. Right, thank you.
Or you can just turn you can give it to him. You can turn the slides fine. Good morning. My name is Sompo Sise. I'm the Deputy Managing Director at NAWEC. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Sise for arranging this press conference, and also recognize the presence of our Permanent Secretary, Kodu Java. And we also want to thank members of the press for your turnout, and also giving us the opportunity to communicate and also update the Gambian public during this difficult period. We're here with the senior management at NAWEC. We have some of our directors here, Pate, So, and also Mr. Ture. So we felt that before we also take questions, we wanted to just throw out some basic facts on the sector, just so that we have we can share some of the information that is showing the strength and health of the energy sector, which I think has grown significantly over the last 10 years. Also, I think it's important to understand that we are operating within a policy framework. We have the roadmap, which outlines the vision of the sector over the next 40 years. And this is a long-term plan, and therefore what we are experiencing now is just a glitch that is not a system failure, but rather an unexpected situation that we are trying to address. So I just want to go through a few slides that will just throw some of the basic data about the sector. As I mentioned, we move away from short-term intervention to long-term planning, which shows that there is a need to address some of the challenges. Most of you would know in Africa, more than 600 million Africans don't have access to electricity. And this is the same in most countries. And so in the Gambia, one of the key pillars of the roadmap is to make sure that by 2025, almost every household has access to electricity. This is called universal access. And it's a policy across the continent, almost every country. And it has been the cornerstone of the energy roadmap. Access has been what has been driving most of the energy projects. And I am pleased to say that it's a fact that as of 2025, more than 90% of Gambian households are connected to electricity. And with the ongoing projects that we have, these are active projects that are actually being implemented right now. By the end of 2026, this figure will be around above 95 to 97%. So currently, you can see different countries in Africa at different levels. If you take West Africa, for example, it's only Ivory Coast and Senegal and Ghana that are above 80%. and we are at 90. So relatively speaking, even among all the other African countries, access is an issue that is a fact in the Gambia. So again, as I mentioned, we have currently about 420,000 customers active, and most of them are also on prepayment, which is also a unique thing in the Gambia, because in most countries you consume and pay later. So another aspect of the energy roadmap has been grid modernization, because sometimes you can have surplus energy, but you have bottlenecks in transmission. And these are, most times, most people will know these overloaded transformers. And therefore, to improve the quality of service, there's been a lot of grid modernization. New transformers have been installed, some in Jabang. We have in Medina 2 Bilkama, that is inside the market. We have in Rusubi, Jabang, and Banjulinding, just by the airport, where the police stand. There's a new substation being built to handle Lamin and other areas. Another part of the energy roadmap is that, unfortunately, the Gambia is one of the only African countries that doesn't have a primary energy resource. There is no oil, there is no coal. We don't really have, even diesel, we have to import all of these things. So the only resource we have is the sun. And therefore, the roadmap was very clear that we should try to harness as much energy locally as possible. And this is why we have implemented the Jambu solar plant, which is a very big plant, about 23 megawatts. And also at the same time, we launched a tender for a 50 megawatt plant in Soma. As I speak to you right now, the contract negotiation is being done, and I think before the end of June, the contract will be awarded. Then another part of the roadmap is that historically in the Gambia, electricity has been very expensive. And so how do we make sure that Gambians have cheap and stable prices? Because we don't want to be increasing the tariffs every 2, 3, 4 years. So to do this, different scenarios were done, but it was found that importing energy from our sub-region through our neighbors like Guinea and Senegal, where we have abundant hydro resources, is part of the strategy. This is very important. And therefore, this is why investment was done to build the interconnection line, which I also want to say, this is actually your taxpayers. The OMVG line is not owned by other countries. It is owned by the Gambia and Senegal and Mali and Guinea and Guinea-Conakry. The 4 countries together own this asset and share it. So we share the line, and we're also sharing some of the power plants that are built together. So these are just basic facts that show the overall sector strategy that is driving the energy sector. So the sector is not really based on intervention. There's a plan, and everybody's following the plan. Next, please. So as I showed, if you look at also energy consumption, the sector is growing. In 2016, we were consuming around 300,000 megawatt hours of energy. And this is energy where we were not interconnected with anybody. We were just producing this by NAWEC, by ourselves. In 10 years, energy demand has increased by a factor of 3. Right now, as we speak for 2026, we're expecting about 970,000 megawatt hours. So you can see from the data, the demand for electricity is very high, and we're seeing about 12% growth every year. But this is obvious. Most people in this country would know that the construction industry is growing. People are building houses, of course, and we're seeing the rapid urbanization. And you can also see it in the difference in the energy consumption. Industry is not consuming most of the energy now. Most of the energy is being consumed by domestic consumers, more than 61% of the energy. Next, please. Again, I think I just want to highlight, this is what the grid was before. If you travel to the provinces, you will see electricity in Bara, Kerewan, Farafenye, just the major provincial towns. But today, if you go, the network has been extended in Kiang, virtually all the districts. It's really isolated villages that are off the road, that are currently, in fact, I think it's only Sierra that has a very focused, active projects. But in most of the other parts of the Gambia, in the North Bank, in the Lower River, the access is above 90%. And you can see the map right now, it's almost covering the entire country. So this is where the investment has been focused over the last 3 years to put access to also the rest of the Gambia. And you can see today as we speak, from Barra to Basse, there's a very reliable electricity supply as well. Equally, we should have the same in the GBA. So I think this is really, this slide highlights what many people wanted to find out, what is happening with our local generation. I want to emphasize that local generation has not been neglected. If you look at the roadmap, there is an emphasis that NAWEC should always have the capability to provide electricity. So unfortunately, some of the plants are quite old and some of the engines have been out, but currently out of 10, almost 7 are available. But what has also been happening is that over the last 12 months, we have actually been focusing on rapid maintenance of many of the engines. And if you look at Kotu, for example, currently 2 engines are available. And we look at Brikama, that was renovated, rehabilitated in December, it's running. In Brikama 2, which is also available in February this year, it's running as well, 9 megawatts. In Brikama 3, one of the engines is running. It's just developing a minor technical fault, and for safety reasons, it's not been run. So we're expecting some engineers from Germany, they will come in later in the month. So the Jambu plant is also running. So I just want to emphasize that also, when I say that the engines have been maintained, there's also a delay in maintenance. We made this point during our press conference in April. If you look at Brikama 3, which has G2, 10 megawatts, this was ordered since early, the spare parts, they're coming from South Korea. They were ordered since February. When the war broke out, the parts had already been shipped, and they were in Dubai, and they were stopped. And since then, they've been going around, and now they've found a new route, and we still haven't received it. So there's not much we can do, because this is an externality that is a reality. So again, another thing that has happened is since the war happened, we had to also stock up on fuel, because energy security is not just generating your own capacity. You have to have fuel as well. So we've spent a lot of money to purchase fuel to stock up at Kotu and also Brikama, because there's no point having engines when you don't have fuel. So energy security is a broad term. It's not just the capability to produce, but you also have to stock up on fuel. Because I think if the generators were running and we didn't have fuel, we'll also be in this press conference today defending why management didn't anticipate that. So I think this highlights just the reality of our own domestic production. It's not neglected. It's actually going to maintenance. So we'll explain also later why we're seeing this extensive load shedding. Because in fact, before this process, maintenance was happening, but most people wouldn't know it because we could source power to substitute that. So, for example, as I mentioned, Brikama 2, the maintenance happened in December, January, but most people didn't know that it was happening because we could source the power from neighbors to compensate for that 1 or 2 months. Next, please. So, these are just, again, some basic facts. You're welcome to come to NAWEC to be open to share the information. Like I said, we spent over almost about more than $1 million, about almost 80 to 90 million just in the last 12 months on maintenance. We pay for maintenance when the parts arrive. So I just wanted to show what we have paid. But if I show the total procurement, we're talking of almost $2 to $3 million. But the parts have not arrived, so we have not been able to pay for it. Again, like I said, some of those that are in the red, it's in our budget, we're going to rehabilitate them, but that would go up to next year. Again, in terms of fuel, what we have paid again, and this was not even anticipated. If the war didn't happen, we wouldn't need to spend all of this on fuel. But we have spent over $100 million just to buy HFO. And the other thing I want to emphasize is that if you look at the transport price, it gives you an indication of what fuel prices are for HFO. fuel prices in the Gambia in February were around $67 or so. Today it's 120. That is the reality of the energy market. The same thing has happened to HFO prices. Today it has doubled, but you can see that, of course, electricity prices have not doubled because of this interconnection and importation. But if we were to pass the cost, true cost, then really prices should have increased as well. I think we have the last slide. One more, no, just go back. Okay, so I think we also want to emphasize the importance of the interconnection. This map shows the line. Basically, it's a ring to ensure that it's stable. So we have, it's about 1,500 kilometers of 225 kV line. And it enters the Gambia from Tanaf, which is in southern Senegal. And then at Soma, it branches off to come to Bilkama. And then from Bilkama, Nawek brings it back to Jabang. And then it continues to Kaula and to Senegal, and then you have the link going back. So what this is doing is trying to harness the energy resources within our sub-region so that we can be independent, energy independent as a sub-region. Because pulling together as African countries makes us stronger rather than trying to work individually. So within the Gambia, in Soma, we have 30 MVA. There's a big substation there. And then in Bilkama, there's a 140 MVA transformer as well. And also, I want to emphasize that what is happening is, for example, if we import energy from Guinea, it passes through Senegal. It's not being supplied by Senegal. It's just passing through the network. In the same way, some of you who have also been to the provinces, we also do the same for Senegal. They use our network to supply some of their border villages because those villages are closer to the Gambia. If they want to supply, say, Ker Ayub, which is in Farafenni from Dakar, the voltage drop will be very high. So they ask us to supply them from Soma because it's a shorter distance of 10 or 15 kilometers. So it's not a matter of a linear importation on one side. There's energy, there's energy flowing within the network, both sides. So this is how the energy market is working. They would call us and say, can you supply on this side? We call them and say, can you supply on the other side as well? So I think maybe my colleagues can also talk about it because what happens is it's a week ahead. So we are in week 23 now. You give your nomination for next week and say, I need X megawatt every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And Senegal will say, I can provide this. Guinea will say, I can provide this, and vice versa. And then you agree on the nominations, and then this energy flows next week. So it's a week ahead market on how it's working. So the point I'm showing this is because there's a lot of emphasis about Gambia, Senegal. It's more than just Senegal. It's a regional network of different countries working together on a daily basis. So it's not about Senelec and Nawek. It's a bigger picture that I think everybody should be able to see. So the last slide, I think one more. Yeah. So again, I think the other thing is I just wanted to highlight that there is, it's just like your water bill. When you consume water this month, Nawek doesn't bill you this month. We read the meter this month, we reconcile it, we bill you. So there's a lag in your billing. The same thing is happening with the electricity transaction. Just because we are paying bills of, say, February, doesn't mean that we owe. Yes, technically we owe them, but it's not that we are not paying. Because first, once you consume the energy, you have to reconcile the nominations. Because when you say that this is what I want, and this is supplied, you also have to physically travel to the metering points and measure the energy, reconcile it, then do the invoicing. So that lag is always a natural thing. So if we have, say, $10 or $20 million between us and Guinea or Senegal, it's not that we are not paying and they're cutting the energy. This is a natural way the market works. So I think that we've seen some figures being thrown around that we owe this amount, we owe that amount, but it's not necessarily that we are paying the bills. And also I want to emphasize that just think of it, if we were selling electricity to a country outside the Gambia, how would we know that they would pay? We would ask for a bank guarantee. we have provided bank guarantee against any transaction. So if we have not paid our bills, they would cash the bank guarantee. So I think it's not a financial issue here. And also, even before this crisis, the months that are lagging have been the same. So I don't think that the point here is just to make sure that in the energy market, countries owe each other, because the settlement process takes more than 1 month or 2 months to do the transaction. So the outlook, like I said, I think the energy sector as a whole has not failed. I think that it has delivered to many Gambian homes, what many African countries are struggling to have. I think morally it's the right thing that everybody enjoys electricity for the first time. But I think one thing we want to also send a message here is that we don't want to deflect any excuses to blame Senelec or anybody else. We want to throw the facts out there, answer your question, and ensure the Gambian people just have the facts. And we also want to note that it has been a challenge because of the amount of energy being lost. We've not been able to communicate on a scheduling basis, but I think during this question we'll also be able to answer that. So the outlook is that we have a new power plants. We hope that the 50 megawatts will be started by the end of the year. And also, I think on the water side, we have also, you can see some of we have a new treatment plant that has been built in Tujareg. Hopefully it will come up by September. We will inaugurate it. It will be the first one since 2009. Equally, people are complaining about the availability of water. But if you can see, the investment for a new water treatment plant has not happened in almost 17 years. So that is a big gap to fill. I don't think this plant alone will solve it, but it would really fill the gap. So once again, I think on behalf of the management, we just want to say that our doors are open. We're trying to communicate as much as possible on radio, on TV, and also press conferences like this. I think we will have as many as possible, just so that we answer all the questions. And you're also free to engage us at NAWEC anytime. And we also are available to answer any questions that you have today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that detailed presentation of what the current situation is at NAWEC, and also your commitment to reporting the factual situation of what's happening. I think we've got to the most critical part of the session, which is the question and answer session. So if without the any further intervention from NAWEC at the moment, we will invite the press to ask the questions that they have. So, but before that, maybe some basic ground rules. Could we kindly put our mobiles in silence? And also, in terms of questions, maybe before you ask a question, just introduce yourself and your media house. And please, let's limit the questions to maybe 2 at a time, to make sure that everybody has a fair chance of asking the questions. Pardon? Yes, or also in the local languages, please, if you can ask in them. Thank you very much. Yes.
Yeah, I already have the mic.
Okay. Don't worry. I think you can just ask.
Mike, move.
Yeah.
Wait, I've been on the media all the time.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much. I have loads of questions, but I'll first start with the Honorable Minister of Information. No, I want to start with you because you've made mention of some updates, and one of it actually. All right. So one of the questions is, okay, my name is Aliou Jallo. I work for the FATO network. My first question will go to Dr. Cisse. Recently, the government actually made an announcement of $150 million subsidies. Now, to subsidize for fuel prices for consumers. Now, my question would be, for you to give us a detailed breakdown of these prices, of these subsidies, and how the $150 million is spent, and how does it actually help to save customers. Now, the second question is the government, can the government commit to actually publishing the fuel structures, including taxes, levies, and the subsidy components, so that Gambians can, verify some of this subsidy? Because we've been hearing this time and time that government always subsidize fuel prices, and yet it is not actually reflecting on the farm. Thank you so much. I'll come back for the other questions.
Next question.
Yeah, thank you so much. My name is Edward Francis Dalia from Askambi Media, and my question goes to NAWEC. So when the NAWEC guy was given the update,
The Deputy MD.
yeah, the Deputy MD, okay, sorry for that, he made mention of the focus being significantly on access to electricity, like expanding the electricity access in Gambia. But my question is, what is the value of achieving access to electricity, access in the country, when our local generation is not sufficient? In economics, we say the higher the demand, supply should come. So now, we have seen that the demand is higher, but the local generation here, the supply, is low. So what is the benefit of that? My second question is, since 2017, how much have been invested specifically in domestic electricity generation? And how many megawatts of generation capacity have been added as a result? Because the government, this new government came in 2017. There was a megawatt that was there. So how much have been added since 2017 up to date? And why does the Gambia remain heavily dependent on imported electricity despite this investment? Thank you so much.
We take a final question. We answer the question.
Any more? Yes.
Well, Assalamu alaikum. I am Adama Fadera from Mambikirin TV and Home Digital FM, Brikama. I would like to ask in Mandinka for the benefit of our local followers. Ntalafta nyininkaro kala nim Mandinka kauna, bari mne nyininkaro bita damento wolam nawek la fannade nga government to ngi jayi bake ine nying initiative men nara. Lafta nawek nyininkara follow ke menna wolam nying kurang kundo mbe kering up and down mbe kering. Ila press release le ka vonye ko nying adanda kombole. But last week this past Sunday ndabinu kiyande. Almost na material be minati nyala. Ikat kurang kanala akatala seconds like this. And the tara woin tara kiyande. Ndefone na bunwaya aman electrician mfon dara nga bagasol be fa. But ni moment tara je me alon ko ayo idea soto. Probably was a problem of course no. Fo nawek mol men yalon ko ibo ma fon ne nyina musinya fo ka kurang experience. Fo be sensitization o ke kan ne bang ni wo issue civil ka be fam protect la nyama. Fo ina na yakele bang fo abela plan ko no that's one. Second one on menti nyim kurang na nyin tanin na ye chat solidan di janne kurang na situation mo banko ka nyame metar la nyin kon for how long time frame le beje bang me alon kon sa expect no ko within that time frame nyin situation o nyimbe bola kono and mol min yalon ko la bagasol tinyata ngalon ngaje modul ndo nga complain so dol men yanon ko small scale business o manol le muyti dol le business o le start ay la material o yebula frijol ko ne tinyata fo naweke plan so lo banko mari nyol ke compensate o fo o mari nyol ni nawek ni samani nawek be lola la bankaje ko ko compensate and the other question ni momenti nawek fo planol be jela bang me alon ko manke long term plan but short term plan so ko nawek la generation nyin ka falim because ñim wosi won be meta caring wate wada be den menna na generator la mu G5 G2 G3 spare part le ya odana ne meta ñim moy la kabring the former regime still wo bo continue kanjan fo nawek fanambe plan o ke kan ne bang me alon ko atakela wati merindi kan na power generation system mo nyin ka fal ida ngata into power windmill o ngata into dam o ngata into solar plants fo mbo planol ke kan ba melon ko long term lembang for short term lembang and musa expect no wati jomalem wala mun questionol and last question men sorry mbara only one question is in most cases nin ndolunga programme la ninga nawek la issue nati mola biggest complaint ka mendi ninga cash power dundi ninga 1000 dundi ka 700 la soto ninga $100 dundi nka 70 la soto something like that wokodo ning abole nyam wokodo kata min dole
Okay.
that's it.
All right, thank you. I think your question about the subsidy, I don't think I'm the competent person to answer that question. And I don't want to say things that I don't know about. I think what I would advise is you write to me the questions and request for how the subsidy is made and also the fuel structure, and we'll provide that to you. And you can further share with the public. But I cannot answer those questions as of now. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. I think, so for the first question, I think since 2017, 2 new power stations have been built. As I showed, Brikama 3 was inaugurated in 2021, which is a brand new 20 megawatts. And then in 2023, Jambu Solar Power Plant has been installed, which is 23 megawatts. So in total, 43 megawatts has been added since 2017, which is significant. But again, as I showed, maybe I've missed one, and my colleagues.
You mentioned in G5.
And G, yes, yes. 2018 also G5 was added, which is 12 megawatts. So I think definitely, if you look at it, 12 plus that, you will have almost more than 50 megawatts of new capacity has been added. So it buttress the point that there is no neglect of generation. Like I showed, the value chain, you cannot just deal with one problem, hoping that afterwards you deal with everything simultaneously. So also on the issue of access, I think the best way to understand this is what is the alternative. Should we leave half the country without access and just focus here? Is that the right way to approach development? So I don't think that we should question why there's a focus on access. We cannot have 2 million Gambians and more than 1.5 million don't have access to electricity. It's not right. Morally and also, I think, ethically, it's not the right thing to do. So I think focusing on connecting every Gambian home to make sure that if somebody is in the GBA and can study at night and pass their exam, the same should happen anywhere else in the provinces. So I think the best way to understand this is what is the alternative, not to do anything. So I don't think that's right. And I think, again, if you look at the total megawatts installed, as I said earlier, you will see that the focus has not been on access, but the focus has also been on generation. And also, we can give you all the new substations that have been added in some of these communities, because you cannot just connect people and then leave them like that. So there's been great modernization, there's been access, and there's also been improvement on the generation. So the point I'm just making is, I understand this is a serious issue, but it's a cascading effect of external factors that have really impacted. And we should not look at these 2 weeks as a failure of the entire energy strategy and the entire system. I don't think that's a fair assessment. So on the last issue with Kiang, I'm not sure on the issue. Yes, maybe my colleague can listen, but I was just going to say maybe that's a local isolated problem on that area. Under normal circumstances, you can have these things. A transformer can trip here and there. But my colleagues Pate and this can come in. Unfortunately, my manager is not very good, but.
Okay, assalamu alaikum. Media, Malbe Kontona, Mr. Fadera from Kiang. The good part is, yeah, thank you very much. And then we also have another proud Kianga sitting at the extreme right there. Ngamira ayeda nyini ngarwa kuma ke abedara bakele. Tonyalem seke coming for the na deputy managing director min for na be kenola an isolated problem leti. Because ullo ko ko salo lo ko kono fana nina director of the searing aseng seriano nga nyini nga ko nyego ka seran kombo ko liara because kurantiji bare vele Kianya kuramo bija andum Allah satil ngamere man jamfanyo ditara nema le ngamera you are ditara the other side so ngamera be man jamfanyo bari bon kol bije be la moyla but min kumata wala nyindi ko problem o do ka kele wadu do fami ka ke molla la transformer ka problem o soto le yamira fonna wek le off asampul jamal ketale ni dara jiwe ngaje ko problem o be transformer je ko line o nying wala ofta woto na kuma ko nga min fo coming problem o be jibiyele be sabati ngo kan ne because nga dalila ko le soto bawo ndol fana be bota nang sandol leto de fana manke ko mon gote fana boda sandol to andung salol ko ma fongal bar kurama be njele to nyalem isolated problem o se keno wolem kuye ke mi alon ko ma kalam da dinga kalam da don ka fix le yenyi ni ngaro daron fana ke min kumya da fo bi nga nyin kurangol samba sate to munu nena ma soto ha ni dara jere jannin ka kurama samba nga police min soto wolem standard le by the World Bank aning na kurangol la tamandi nyan data satel to janin kurang fankana ngata nga sefol kumandi alkalol kumandi viditil kumandi mi e kacha ni botaje ni murun ko te ngata satel kono je in fact kiyang birin dara nema before dara kiyan nema njiata korda mi ko ka je sabudi kunda so ni murtaje nyinin ka fo baji nyol man naja nada je ni mol kacha ka fo kurango na fa soto bara mantoro soto le so nga yamarol kijanu kata sate o sate ni mol ka kacha le in fact na programme do so mi alam fa mol kanale ni si ni be sele fankela pasol di la kemelulu inaga se ngamara kiango do fanko nyoko haba ni mi do nyanda ka kele wade ni wade woto nga wo kacal fanan kele ma wo kola ni la nyini karo do iko ni kaspo sang wili kilin ika kemero la so do man songa kumola mol ka fo ni mi ya fo ngamara nimpa be la mo ka ngamara la programme do nga do kijele ngamin fodo nakita mina please alin kumandi o aliya nati haniano fan ala samba any page aliya safeje ko nawe kenyene ke mba jabila bare ni ek $1,000 sa wili ebe wili le sotla minga ke modol la ni tata sang ikaf mina third party vendors wala munuka asang nawe bulika wafu yalon sa mbiri wali asan nawe wili kilin iba wafu le tamani e wili kilin dila sekebe dalasi mom bondila jele waran dalasi tan wosa keno bare nawe ni a santoli ya wili killing ibe wili killing na sotla fembo katala woto ha thank you
ni kas posa wili killing
ha
ni a dundi mitato wili killing buka safeji
hani wo buka safe
72 points so wo amake wo make 700 wo di kilowatt hour ngara moja malko wala
okay maybe that's the problem
1000 sang ya dundi 1000 buka feñ ila mitato 72 point something kV, something like that. Well, it's not the unit dollars.
No, it's not.
So mojama camera ko wole be saferinje. Ngamer wole ka confusion.
Nara wole I think me minkela be badi bungo bulalale I ta around Kiang I will send but tonyalem I think akumara doctor min sene Dr. Baraka ngamre energy fanankele. Doctor min volen tonyade ni kurango sang. Yale ni $100 sile tata. Ito camera ko 100 kilo woni wole binala. Hani. Ito na iba soto ka in kilowatt. Yalon kurango nyi kilowatt wolem akatama ning ala tunku ngi gawle sang ni asang ngi gawle so manje ko ni ra petrol station ni ajibe ni wili fula sang ajibe sa wili fula ite wili fula sot la in liters bodi be liter le sot la wili fula taraji ibe kat safiro kat refa anu nawek la kayto fana docteur min fo walem toñati ibe wili fula jela kodo obe wili kiri jela kodo bare be 72 kilowatts le jela so man jogo 700 lem ngamra nyin dula anyanda faham la I think this is very important. Thank you Fadera ani mum ko take ha amma ngamra dieni akiluma diamni na kumoda min fo ni tubabu kan wala o seni atale wolem nyindi ko a o sustainability be kirinne aka fo e fan nin alayem dema tumando baro jani nyin karobe fala war nyi wade kundi ngo kono nyanda ka contrat ko sign pour ka jeko nga 50 megawatts so 50 megawatt fango amanje 50 me 150 megawatt wili kemenin tallululem megawatt o nyi bare nga ke tungum folo o be kala meter talluleti di ora tungum nyi we kala meter kemeleti bare nyin tallulo nyi na preta jara soma ni wala mimbe mbulu tumando bato mimbe kala je wala nyindi ko kayta ka je ko say dol fana mbe futala tembo to miyan ko gambia be kurango wafula ni yavo moye biya ka ke talin ngote bare nam aman jam fa ko teke ando ye nyini ngaro do fan do nyini ngaro ki jande fo kabrin 2017 fo ndol nga kafundroke bri mansa kunda falindro keta jang 2017 kana 2018 ku jamal le keta no dépense jamal le fana dunda pour nawe kala karola bare kaje ko min ndol be mo gambian ko le kaje safere mol ka ko nawaki ko di jamala dunda je million wala dunda je mi yalon ko amanna hanisa en courant man stable no lafta pour ka nyim fanan senian ni na badi lamorale ko nin ayata ko min million kemen nani dollar wala dunda nawek pour ka tamandi wo million kemen nano amanje pour ka fa generation capacity lam access bo wala kono wala ka courant wal samba satel kono amma nanyin sam fil bala ka munje silo kan wal fanan dada wala 225 wala be jota wala kono so ku jamal leketa ko do nyin kono be pare do nyini ngaro ke tibabu kan wala fondinge ako wala mimbe mbulu jaman singa samba santolto ni taraje itara fo ifutata wulli limbambul yenyum fo be nyabile kan because wolo bi ni woli lampo fon so 2 hours e alaten because ni nena ma mira kabine independent fo bi alhamdulillah within a very short period naweke ani gambia man sakunda la mako ero kono naweke sate keme worola ani sate tan ani kono do yol connect la be pare na bosse min fo universal access pour ka tay mo ñu fek dunia be bendamin na wolem 2030 pour universal access momo be dawda e courant soto gambia man sakunda yo kuntule ya nadi de 2025 anon tol nga mu dawda 2025 2026 anu wolem ñindi ko bay December 2026 lafta ka jogo momo be dawda gambia ja e courant soto wala universal access ti now e courant soto womo kilinati bare courant be futale mo fana mo fulade bare fana be silo kana bina bare momo la nyantolem amanje coming privilege in mandinga I don't know momo la nyantolem ñindi la sulolem pour ka courant soto amanke coming ka fo karele ba sur la carte sa woto mo bele denda courant wala nga kata pour mo be fana ya soto bare ferel bi jele pour ka je ko na generation capacity fana be dogu kan ala baraka I think that say it again wala juma kilindi ko deg
Yes.
No, follow go.
Second one
Ini kan flamin jabe. Ibe compensate la.
Okay. Abaraka bag yalon ga kien ngale lawo subo kilometer nyaade wala ko do bare be nyomoy la min kum ya jam min mu sobe ate wala man medan nawek bare man saratol je nawek comme ni la fengol tinyata min kum ya dron comme kununa directeur min fonye rek se min fono dron min keta amanken sawoti is beyond our human control pour molé la subol la ay tinya o mo la karol manke so ni ngo promise o tajan ko mbo jolal hani atiye nena ma kaja afere tambulu anu maso na sartu bugol fanan kono anu ngabe gambian gol danado mo wala suboti yada do on behalf of the managing director and Ali Mbalali but definitely mamera mo nyandan sambala kitela because amangen sawoti okay the timeline for me bije already ngol ngam hame wolem jani nyin karo talante on the 15 nga jikile ko nyin be nyin problem on kono ten at least mbe bola kono wole na jikote o da ngamra dal be kafuta man duata abe kelale inshallah is that okay yeah next
So maybe another question.
no
Yeah, my name is Sheriff. I'm working for Civil Press. The first question I have here is how much is NAWEC spending on the importing electricity on a monthly basis? Yeah. The second question, I'd like to ask that in a local language. From 2017, covering 2017, kanalam fombe watu menkono, almost sanje kononto. Problem ol melbe kerin nu, still now kaje problem sifal be kerin. Sa fonga be waskanne. Mbota damento right now, covering kunun kurang utara fombe bokanje. I don't even charge my mobile phones. Yeah. So Deputy MD ngala moy janga be diamo kang. Ako membe caring, even though I original fole, you understand, fuel crisis and other things. But among ke failure ti bankaje ko salo nata bana salo, mol mini alon ko ila business ol beloring kurang ole kang karalal and other people even muni alon ko ila leangol fale ila subol bela frijol ko ne beti nyata business ol right now as we speak business ol molla business ol beti nyaka right now. So if that is not a failure, what are you going to call that actually? So I'd like to hear from you. But sorry, let me just complete this one. Sorry. Sabanjango, kurang wala tanin na lefta pour nawe kuma photo ika communicate nyaming because ni ajube Gambia afemba imang angale kango moy ibuka read no. So nawe ka ika ila most of the time ila press release o ika English fango menke je hade mentara school jamabi je ta understand no exactly ika language menke je and if you look at it melbe kurango use kang mene alon ko e buka read no e buka safero ko no e buka read no wala siata dina mene alon ko ka reading. So if you just go there and write something yeah yankanale dog please. So yeah, I'm coming quickly. Yeah, I have to frame my question very well. Yeah, so actually if nina de press release o da masafe many alon ko kuran nyanda dala ndula carrier to ani mil malo wala kasiya actually. So akataka na nyama akatinyaro minga wala kasiya an nyek nyini ngaro ke coming fo albe gael compensate la iko foni mole nawek balal na meta balal rote ter la jede abinale kan nawek samba kota abinale balal rote continue as long as problem o ka continue. So moving on, how are you going to communicate to people so that the majority salon know exactly albe menkela? Thank you.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for the press conference and at least for being proactive because I'm sure you probably heard from the public. My name is Yusuf Taylor for Askanwe Media. My question is very simple and I would like to direct it to the Honorable Minister. The Gambian public have really been lamenting this electricity issue and the timing. Some of them are saying, especially the elite class, the ministers, from the president up, they are all enjoying generators, solar, all kind of alternative sources of electricity. Their meat is not getting destroyed over the recent fest. What's your response to that? That you people definitely don't feel what the public is saying. And that's one of the reasons why your press releases, when they come out, is far from what people are experiencing every day. That this government is out of touch with what the everyday Gambian is going through.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Final question for this round. Yes, we have a lady now.
Good morning. My name is Arejata from the Standard newspaper. So we have been hearing that NAWEC owes Senegal. Is it true that because NAWEC owes Senegal, that is why the Senegal government has stopped supplying us electricity?
Let me answer the questions. I'll start with you, Yusuf. I think that's a very important question. I think there is a perception out there that ministers are not also suffering, but that is not true. We are suffering like every other Gambian with this challenge. And I think it's unfair for us to have that perception that ministers have solars in their house. Why is the evidence? As far as I know, I don't have a solar in my house. And sometimes I struggle with my kids in the morning for them to have shower to go to school. And that is a fact. But I understand. And that brings my question to the gentleman who says things are getting worse. Maybe he's young, that is why. When Barrow came to Panton, there was definitely a movement that went to the Westfield. For what? To protest against the lack of electricity in this country. How things, for the past 2 years, who has complained about electricity? If it was a failure, then we would have been complaining for the past 2 years. But there was no single complaint. In fact, we expanded access to every part of this country. How is that a failure? Failure is when there is a constant lack of electricity, like we've seen in other African countries, where every 3-4 days is when you get electricity, every 5 days. Some, in fact, don't even expect it. In some countries, yes, not very, I don't want to name countries. You don't even expect it. If it comes, they organize a barbecue because electricity has arrived. Here, for the past 2 years, we've been providing constant electricity to the public. For the past 2 years, constant electricity. Now there's a glitch, a challenge. For 2 weeks, and we are calling it a failure. It's like you have your wife who's been cooking for you for the past 2 years, delicious meal. Then 2 days she didn't cook, and you say she's a bad wife. Now I'm just giving an example. For the past 2 years, she's been cooking delicious food for you. No, but who controls timing? The machine doesn't know what is Tobaski or Christmas. The machine doesn't know that. The equipment doesn't know that. Our wish is for every Gambian to enjoy their Tobaski. That is our wish as a government. What do we gain from making sure that Gambians suffer? What do we gain from it? It's not good for us politically. If we are to decide, nobody will go without electricity in this country. Nobody. And water. But remember, we inherited a bad system. We have not done any significant investment in electricity and water in this country for the past 30, 40, 50 years. And we've added over 50 megawatts to the grid since 2017 to date. All we ask for is for the public to bear with us. We are going to solve this problem, just like we've solved many other problems that this country has faced. When the ferry crisis started, there was so much news about the ferry. Who's talking about the ferry now? That 2 weeks when there was no ferry, it was like the country was collapsing. The most important is that we're a government that listens, and we listen to the public, and we are going to solve this problem very soon. And this will be a thing of the past. No country goes without problems. It's not possible. Even as a human being, sometimes you get sick. Do you say, I'm sick? God, the timing is bad. It's Tobaski and I'm sick. Do you say that? That God, the timing is bad? How can I get sick before Tobaski? Do you say that? This could happen anytime. It could happen on the eve of elections, in fact. The most important thing is we are doing everything possible to make sure we stabilize the situation. And let's look at the bigger picture. For over 100 years, there are communities in this country with no electricity, never in their entire life. Now they have it. That's good news. And nobody said anything about it. Nobody even said, government, thank you. But just 2 weeks. And it's not like it's total blackout 24 hours. No. We said there's a problem. Bear with us. We're going to ration it. And it's like the whole world is collapsing. And he calls it a failure. It's not a failure. It's a challenge. No, so, and then you talk about equipment. How can you... There are many factors that can make equipment break down. It could be the quality of the equipment itself. So what we are asking for, and what NAWEC is saying is that bear with us, we are going to solve the problem. And not that we are not empathetic to the public. We are as ministers. My mom is in Brikama. She calls me at night. Huh? She calls me. I feel it, but it's beyond my control. If I had the powers, I'd make sure that she has light at night, so she doesn't sleep under the hot atmosphere. But this is the situation. And I think when countries face a challenge, let us solve it together and help each other to solve it. And sometimes, some people use it politically. They just use it in a manner in which it is wrong. They politicize it. They politicize people's challenge, which is wrong. So I think for me, that is it. Fred, to answer your question, we are going through the same pain and the same challenge as ministers as well. We are human beings. Even if a minister is having solar at home, can you afford to give solar to your father and your mother and your uncle and your brother? Your family members are also suffering. So we're all suffering with this, but we understand it's a challenge. It's beyond our control, isn't it? Thank you.
So the other questions are press release in English. Sorry, you think answer the no, he's going to answer.
They'll answer the question. Your
He'll answer your press release in English.
Right?
The press release.
Communication.
Yeah.
In English instead of.
That's a good feedback.
Yeah.
It's a good feedback. We'll take note. And the course one.
It's Senegal, yeah.
And the other one is monthly basis expenditure. Yes. Yes. You will answer the Senegal one as well. So where are the...
Yes. So I think, first, thank you for that suggestion. I think we should communicate better, and I think we'll take that on board. We are on radio, television, and I think we try to communicate as much as possible. What is sent on social media, of course, has to be in English, but we will. It's a very good suggestion. I think we've been communicating, but we'll do more. I think any suggestion or anything that can put us together through this crisis is welcome, and we are always open for that. Again, I think what I wanted to highlight on the issue of failure, like I said, if we are questioning the strategy that has been taken, like I said, the strategy doesn't just have one objective. It's trying to solve the entire sector together to grow as a sector. So in that respect, I don't agree or think that the roadmap strategy has failed, because I think that if you look at it over the period, there's a net positive outcome for most customers. And as Dr. Cisse said, if we had this press conference, say 100 days ago or 3 months ago, we would not be talking about this. If we had it last year as well. So like I said, it's a serious situation, we recognize that, but I don't think we can look back and say we arrived here because our strategy failed. I think that we recognize, like I said, because of the external factors that are happening, not just in the Gambia. If you go to all the countries in the sub-region, everybody who has a thermal plant is reducing their oil consumption because it's simply not affordable anymore. There are two things. You consume more oil and you ask people to pay more. And in any country now, it's difficult to increase tariffs. So the thermal plants everywhere, in Senegal, in Guinea, everywhere, they're reducing thermal consumption because the fuel price is just expensive. So it's the renewables that are coming up and therefore making it not enough to share around. And so if you are under maintenance like us, you cannot have that surplus to come in. I think we've explained that very well. On the amount consumed from Senegal and Guinea and the others, it varies month by month. It depends also at which season we're talking about. And so I don't want to throw figures, but it could be maybe a few $1 million to maybe 8 million or 5 million combined, $4 million, it depends. So for example, if we're in the rainy season and there's a lot of hydro in the system, we will ask to get that. And because ultimately you want to give people cheaper electricity. But I think we can just say a few $1 million, that is what it costs every month. And this is paid for on a monthly basis by NAWEC. So I don't think, on the question of whether we owe our suppliers, this is why, like I said before, I don't think this is a Senegal issue or a Guinea issue. It's not a bilateral issue. There is no financial issue here. And again, every trade is usually backed by a guarantee. It's the same thing. If you were to order, say, something from China, you would have to get an LC from a bank for the supplier in China to know he'll be paid. So the same thing. We have provided bank guarantees against all the transactions. So if we default, they can simply just cash the bank guarantee. So this is not a financial issue. I don't think we can say that because we owe money, the energy is not actually being provided. I think they have their own problems. We don't want to go into that, and I think this is what we try to highlight. But I can also invite any of our colleagues if they want to comment. If not. So, is there...
What was your question? Is it answered? No, I think it's answered. And I think before we go to the next round of questions, it's important. I think he answered that one. That depends on how much we use. No, what we are saying is that depends on how much you buy. If you ask me, how much do I spend on cash power every month? I cannot give a fixed figure. It changes depending on how much I use. But I think let's not focus on Senegal and Guinea. Even EU countries buy energy from outside. That's what they call comparative advantage. If you can buy it cheaper from somewhere where it's produced cheaper, energy is not politics. You can buy from anywhere. Italy buys from Switzerland. Germany buys from other countries. This happens and they sell to each other. For now, if we think that, because there are two options based on what I hear you say. We buy cheaper from Senegal and we don't increase tariffs in the country. Or we can try to force increase tariffs, produce here, but increase tariffs in the country. And you have to find that balance. And I think the most important thing for me, the silver lining is that investments have been done to ensure energy security in this country, to in fact have surplus to sell outside. Because I think what we need is not more than 120 megawatts. Am I correct? Hmm? Yeah? 120 peak load. Now, already we have how much generated internally? Over 50. Over 50. Now, with the 50 megawatts coming in summer and scaling it up to 100, we'll have surplus. So I think the future is bright. All is not doom and gloom. Can we get another question? Three questions. Yeah, we'll get you. No, we come next. No, they are seven.
Okay, salamu alaikum. Ngal be konto toni konto. Nadia mo bita dame wolon navekti. Okay, medo ko la LSTV1. Navek comme ale question do answer jamen kada fadera question ote ka foko cash power near cash power mensang. Ya sanyame ika soto wala nyama ni honda sa ka honda so nde manson jela because wotu monde mera cash power sangola ndeka cash power mensang ninga honda sang wotu mo nka honda le soto ba sai ninga san 120 son han ya san avec fond ika 170 something ne soto comme fo ale system wala falimba pour mol kana understand kilowatt 4 kilobyte lo ma ko manemba but wala bije manson jela be pare okay ha wolo na question de mbolo nyini ka roka comme nyil fo bari ka men sai bu ko soto yeje explain mo le mo bari men jabi woto amanjabi na question fula nyaw menti na menyini ka fula nyaw menti la wolo mina atuna ni mo le meter apply atelier mbuka meter soto fo sanji kilin sanji fula dol bi ikatani duma ni $15,000 do kula do la ka meter na ateli o ka mene ko kos nde ni fonko masure yemburum brikama ni be nyobala la ngata mbe ya face ni nawe kuma courant to bodo
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Isam Balo, proprietor Upright Media TV2 online, and also work for King FM Radio. I have a question for the Deputy MD, but when it comes to electricity, we have two main important components, generation and distribution. What I want to know is how many megawatts are we generating currently, locally, in the Gambia, and the level of distribution? Because Gambians are going through a lot, even to charge your phone to capacity is a problem. Please, David.
Thank you. Final question for this round. Only one question.
Why am I limited? So okay. So I just have two questions now. This time around to Nawek. Hence, the Honorable Minister could not provide answers. That's understandable. So we understand that Kotu power stations used to be the major source of electricity, actually producing over 30 megawatts. Recently, we've seen that there are claims that the power station is providing little or no electricity so far. We just want to know the current status of the Kotu power stations. And the other thing is, we understand that NAWEC relies basically on imported electricity. Can you take us through your plans for the future? And when shall Gambians actually tend to see? Because we've seen a lot of people suggesting that going into renewable energy would be the main source to ending these recurring power cuts, given the fact that the Gambia is blessed with 24/7 sunlight all year round. Thank you.
Yes,
yes, Doctor. Before you come in, I want to protocol. No, sorry, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry for that.
Manja.
What's your question?
Yes, I just wanted to, whenever to help us, many people are complaining about the figures. Normally, the money that they pay, the electricity that they imported. So, if you cannot provide us with the figures now, we would like you to provide us with the figures on your page. Even today, it's okay. We need to know. The public need to know.
Thank you.
So I think.
But also, I think you can also help.
Yes. So I will invite our colleague from customer care to discuss the issue of the meter applications. And maybe on the power station, maybe Pate also can come in to discuss. On the last question, I just want to say that I think what we can give you, because we cannot, with contracts, there is a limit to the information that we can give. So like I said, the energy imported every month is a function of many things. How much we have available, the time of the year, and so many other things. But the figures we give are realistic amounts of what it is per month. So I think, but we are open to engage further if you have any need for it.
Speculate around the end. A lot of information speculate, even within the NAWEC cadre. Someone will call you and give you this information. Yes,
What is the speculation?
People will give you a lot of different kinds of
Don't say about it. We'll give you a chance to ask a question.
Mata,
Okay, let's answer
Mata,
the question.
you want to come on the meter?
They said if you apply for meter, Mata, it takes 2 years before you get the meter. Explain to us why.
Okay. Yeah.
And also the cash power.
The cash power. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Mteto Matarati, Manja, Modo Koranawek, the customer service. Okay, Ninka la follow me Ninka Wolong Akaman Sonko near cash power $100, $600. Okay, na cash power na telephone is open. I think neither the Nawek branches or on the website, so most of the time is there. Sign the more jama coming na present that and the Nyami. Customer jama about domestically. About 61% of our customers are domestic. What tariff for 13.85. So near 100 sang, about divided by 13.85, ebolo soto. So you man can near 100 say 10 soto. So previously, Janine tariff over increased on to 13.5. It used to be 10.14. So 10.14 near 100 sang, you get close to 10, like 9 point something. It's very close to 10. Equal soto. So what kabri of falling the side, wala na more cover near 100 sang, say 100 soto. Because so more near 100 sang, you get 10 soto. It could come in so it's very close to 10. So what I'm promoting, you falling the coming, I think 2023 or so. So we're falling the journal. So what tariff for the tariff is available, is public information to everybody. Nareka domestic below, Nareka water below from a tariff for Katara below from Komal. So it's available. So and the other Yininka, Liming Yininka, wala ko meter, near meter apply a camera, Janica meter sort. Ha, Tonya long, what is sort of no? ni meter apply no aka time ta because coming na deputy managing director ya fo nyami na bagage jamal bije nke bonni nan overseas la so sometimes ning supply chain disruptor rek aka dol fana barandi jani bagage ko fota jam so meter cable any accessories everything ka bona world but what is a thing of the past. I think we get to a point at certain time na near mole application of funka silen ka mol batu. What was a thing of the past? As we are speaking right now, we have over 50,000 meters with us. Near mole application of cycle application of kilometers on time. And
but I'm on time. How many days or weeks should I get my meter?
It's not maximum. The entire process will not take you more than 25 days. More than 25 days.
So
maximum. Yeah, apply. Okay, a 1669 is available. You can call 1669, give them your account number, and then they will take it up. And then if there is any other issues, most of the issues from Aminka, sometimes more application okay with different number. So like Mr. Cisse, more like Mr. Cisse long, other application okay Mr. Cisse. Mr. Cisse maybe application okay most of them more 9. So with time, Mr. Cisse call, I can you know from application okay material. So it's a struggle ka Mr. Matara Korabundi, while Mr. Cicero number lebije, Dr. Cicero number lebije. So so we have so many other challenges, but Catrial has much to communicate to the customers, can enlighten about the procedures momentum and some of the challenges that we face. That's it. Thank you.
I think someone asked about Kotu Power Station.
You answer the Kotu Power Station.
Okay, I think Parker would answer that, but I just want to throw a little a bit on what Mata just said. With regards to the tariff. Tariff is set not by NAWEC. So Mata did mention that tariff has changed. It has changed from 10 point something to 13.85. It was not NAWEC who set tariff. Tariff is set in a consultative process, and PURA leads that process, you know, in the country here. So it is not NAWEC. If it is at NAWEC's disposal, we will change the tariff as it is today, because it's quite very expensive to produce electricity and sell, distribute and transmit and distribute it. So, I mean, we cannot do that because it goes through a consultative process, and PURA leads on that process. Okay? As it stands now, it's 13.85. So you can do the simple division, you see it yourself. Yeah. Okay.
Good morning. First and foremost, I wish to apologize to our esteemed customers and myself also for the outages that we are faced with. I know it's very difficult presently, and I will appeal to all our customers to bear with us, that we are doing everything possible within the shortest possible time to restore our supply to normalcy. Coming back to our generation fleet, I just want to add our installed capacity presently is around 104 megawatt, not to include the solar plant. Meaning, yes, the installed capacity is 104 megawatt, not to include the solar plant. Meaning, what is installed in the Gambia is adequate for the GBA. But we must note, most of our equipment, to maintain them, you have to import your spare parts, everything that you need, it's not manufactured here. So there is a delay. Some of the spare parts, you need them, it will take 6 months, 7 months, because they need to be manufactured, they are not on share. And these are one of the disruption or interruption that we are faced with. Coming back to Kotu, our installed capacity in Kotu is 31.7 megawatt presently. That is what is in Kotu. What is available, we have 2 engines, G5, which is 12 megawatt. We have G7, which is 6.4. The other 2 are under rehabilitation because we want to bring them back on, you understand? But it cannot be done at once. You need to pay your bills at the same time, ensure that you bring your lost capacity. From 2018, this is what is being done. When the new government came in 2018, most of our DOIS engines were down, remember. It is this government with NAWEC, with the World Bank, we were able to bring almost 50 megawatt back to operation. And some of them were even earmarked for decommissioning because they were all absolute. A lot of investment was done to ensure that they are available. And another investment was done with the Islamic Development Bank, with the African Development Bank, to ensure that some of those engines are operating. So the Gambian people, we've been here. We know what we were generating through, what we were transmitting through. And today we have a 225 to minimize our losses. We have 33, which was our distribution. We were distributing in that level, and equally we were transmitting at that level. And it was very difficult. The interruption was too much. In a month, you check our report before 2017, it was almost 100 times that we have blackouts. Today, how many blackouts do we have? In a month, we are getting 2 to 6 blackouts on average, and sometimes 0 blackout. But because of we are doing load shedding, Gambians are, yes, I know what we're going through. I know myself, even my house, during the Tubaski, even my kids, we are not happy with me. They were not happy with me because it's something that I cannot address because it happened, bam. It was not expected. So I will appeal to our public or our customers to please bear with us. We expect within the next 2 weeks, we will be able to normalize the situation. Thank you.
Okay, my to do Ahmad Kebe.
Okay. Now you can answer. No, don't worry. I think we'll answer it again. Yes, DMD help us.
Yeah, so we presented, currently there is a 50 megawatt been awarded. That is part of the investment strategy. And I think that more will come. As he said, the idea is to have 150 in summer. But initially, we're doing 150 megawatts, and then we scale up as we move on. So I think, again, as I said, the strategy is monitoring demand and the number of customers we are having and trying to align that with investment. So we are on track if you take out this issue that we are having on these last 2 weeks. So there's a 50 megawatt investment on solar, which is going to be inside the Gambia.
Okay. Okay, maa ngi tudd Ahmad Kebe di liggéey Paradise TV suma laajte bi ñaar la benn bi mooy biñ mujjee yokku tarif bi suma jumut mi ngi nekkoon 2023 that time fuel bi mi ngi nekkoon around 62 suma jumut nak ngeen ko nekk di dundee nga xam ne tey fuel bi dem na ba 100 something dalasi boo xam ne yokku nañ ko ci wàllum fuel te tarif bi yokkul beneen bi ñu bëri ñu ngi focus ci wàllum courant bi kese gis nañ ñu bari ñu ngi nekk di complain about ndox amut ñu bari ñu ko nekk di wax so lan moo nekk situation ndox bi ak ban jéego ngeen def ngeen make sure ne nit yi dinañ mën a am ndox.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. Baye Ndiol, founder of Fayda One Radio. Dama bëggoon a njëkk a laaj rek fan la direct bi nekk as we speak of Nawek ndax mu ci biir dëkk bi wala nekk ci biir dëkk bi. Bëgg nañoo xam tamit whether Nawek is exempt from lawsuits. If yes, why? If no, naka la nguur gi di liggéey ak society bi pour advise them properly. Parce que foog naa loolu dafa bokk ci seen fundamental rights ndax baal ma rek léegi wala du ko dee solve ba pare dama bëggoon a xam state owned enterprise bi nga xam ne nguur gi taxawal nañ ko nga xamante ne dafa ñaax yenn institution ci pour ñu yokka seen jéego su ko defee ñu mën a gis seen boppa ci réew mi gis nañ ne loolu am na yokk bu mu def ci yenn bànqaas yi nekk ci réew mi Nawek lan lañ jëriñ ci loolu wala lan mooy seen taxawaay ci loolu ndax gis nañ seen boppa ci state owned enterprise bi nga xam dañ koo def ngir def lu ñoo ooy yenn positive reinforcement pour ñenn ñu war a ekkati ñu ekkati leen fan lañ toll ci bunta boobu beneen bi mooy suma last question bi if you don't mind mooy suñ amee jafe-jafe courant right now man mun naa koo muñ xëy na ministre bi mun na koo muñ yow mun nga koo muñ waaye ñu nekk ci lopitaan yi mënuñ koo muñ ndax ñooñu ñu ngi diggante dee ak dunda te gis nañ li xew Brikama suma juumut ba am ñoo xam ne ñu ngi doon use seen téléphone si ci biir hospital bi fooguloo ne jot na tamit pour nawet di prioritize yenn area yoo xamante ni sensitive area su ko defee su yi xewee yooyu ñu bàyyi leen ñoom ñu am courage su ko defee ñeneen ñi mun a manage da ngeen get back to your food. Thank you.
Thank you. Final question. Final one.
Good morning. My name is Jacqueline Koli. I work for QTV. Mr. Manager, we want to know what really is the problem. Because the press releases and today I've not heard anyone address what really is the problem. Why is electricity scarce?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, dina invite soon yenna colleagues yi party pour mu ñëw wax about priority lines. I think ñaari questions in mujjee laajte dëgga I think they are very important questions. Si wàllu tarif bi comme ni ko waa ji waxee any business nen assume ne NAWEC sax nguur gi moomu ko just a normal private business kenn du bëgg a operate ngay ñàkk xaalis danga gis nañ ko si taxi driver yi gis nañ ko si anything loo xam ne li nga ko jëndee doo ko mën a jaayee nga ñàkk si xaalis so suñ doon toppa li no cost recovery comme let's say heavy fuel mu ngi woon say for example $300 per tonne tey mu nekk say $700 per tonne even su doon machine yi yëpp a ngee dox definitely tey price bi sooy fay $13 yi da nga war a fay $26 so benn nguur gi mu ñëw mu ne bu leen ko yokka si askan bi xaaral ñu jox leen xaalis bi loolu tamit noo ko seetee seen xaalis la nguur gi di jëlaat rek xëy na nu ngi ko war a dugal si lopitaan wala dugal ko feneen nu ngi ko dugal si NAWEC ubbu askan bi yokka lifin so loolu laay wax ne soo gisee loolu muta am parce que ñu ngi séedoo loo xam ne ñun noo ko moom Africa mooy yeneen dëkk yi ñu ngi jéem a seet seen resources mooy hydro bi ak yooyu noonu ñu séedoo ko ak lifin moo tax ñuy def this interconnection so definitely to answer that question soo gisee nu mun a absorb shock bu mel nii apart from sax technical problems yi doon wax fii nii at yi passé nii yëpp xam nga price bi mu ngi doon increase nekkul di double waaye mu ngi doon increase 5% 2% like that so waaye tarif bi yokkuwut parce que yaa ngi ko mën a jënda si lifin the other thing with hydro pour nit yi understand tamit mooy time yi nawet soo usut ndox bi su daam bi feesee dañ dee am li de ooyee spilling dangaa am pour ubbi rek nga yaaxa ndox bi parce que yaa nga ndox bi da ko mën a ciyee rek so nga jël ko def ko courant jaay ko keneen moo gën so loolu yëpp is loo xam ne moom lañ nekk di liggéeyee nii so I think ne li ma wax rek mooy ñu ni neen african si rek ñu gën a connect ñu gën a trade in electricity daf yooyu parce que li xew bitim réew loolu problème yi bitim réew so ñun den war a gën a collaborate ak yooyu noonu so I think the other question mooy ne MD bëggoon na fee nekka waaye tey si suba moom tamit mu ngi dem si fi nga doon laajte SOE commission foofu la dem pour explainal leen di nekka di xew parce que xam nga we have what is called a performance contract so si at bu nekka SOE commission den la dee wax ne nangam nga war a def pour nga mun a am comme liñ laa fay daal nga mun koo aan so foofu la dem pour wane problème bii nii naka la moo xewee ak lan moo si nekka so ñun li nekka di def fii moom mu ngi koo def foofu tam pour explainer waaye mu ngi fi mu ngi si dëkk bi fanaa laajte nga beneen tam njëriñi SOE commission waaw soo seetee about 1 month ago ñu ngi publish seen 2025 annual report xaw ma ndax gis nga ko soo seetee report boobu mu ngi wane asset si state owned enterprises si yëpp seen profitability seen staff cost to total revenue ak yooyu noonu yëpp soo seetee métrique li fi ñu noo jël yëpp I think NAWEC def na si si ñi nekka si kaw la nekka because almost half of assets yi state owned enterprise yi moom yëpp NAWEC moo leen gën a moo si ëppa doole daal because soo seetee assets si government soo jëlee NAWEC keneen ki nga am xëy na ports la wala dara waaye in terms of revenue NAWEC is almost 4 or 5 times greater than them. So we are almost about 15 or so $billion a year, compared to 1 or 2 billion, something like. So I think society yeneni comme ni ma wax rek indicators yi yep we are not doing badly. Staff cost as a percentage of total revenue is less than 5% or so. So loolu yep mu ngi wane ne we are on track. So buñ seetli rek wane things are totally out of play, nekkul di xew. So SOE ñu ngi def liggéey bu baax tamit because at bi passé sax ñaari at yi passé ñu nekk NAWEC yëpp den wàññi woon seen salary because meetuñ performance indicator. So loolu mu ngi laa wan ne système bi mu ngi dox. So soo gisee dafaatuñ loolu parce que ñu ngi meet targets yi. So they have to push harder ñun tam ñu gën a liggéey pour góorgóorlu si li ma def. Waaw. Well, doctor mu ngi daw question bi waaw I think ni ma bëggee answer question boobu mooy sooy dem ak nit court wala dara dafa fekk mu def maa tey sa ko mu ñëw mu violate sa rights then yow si nga ko mën a yóbbu so ñun kenn si ñun du dee ewu suba ne dañoo deliberately yaha or violate any Gambian. So there is no the intent pour gaañ Gambia nekku fa so lu xew dafa fekk xëy na mënuñ koo control or noonu la demee waaye I think ne NAWEC is not exempt from any legal process su dee def dara loo xam ne definitely noo ko tey ñu yaxal nit kooku mun naa dem to any waaw li ma waaw man xaaral ma isi docteur mu answer
NAWEC
wala moo gën si loolu
NAWEC is a legal entity mun naa suu te mun nañ koo suu loolu is clear léegi su fekkee da nga bëgg a suu NAWEC loolu code by decide kenn mënut a taxaw fi mu la ne lii moo xew si code bi code bi daa independent ba lu ma war a wax mooy ne luy xew is not negligent te kenn mënu maa wax ne negligence la problème boo xam ne la te bëgg naa nga answer loolu because ndaw si dafa laajte very important ko lan mooy problème bi foog naa loolu lañu war a xam right now ko kenn laajtew loolu noonu depuis buñu starté moo tax ndaw si bu ñu ko laajee moo xam ne lii c'est a good question lan mooy problème bi ndox moo amul si daam si ndax lan mooy problème bi I think that question should be answered te nañ bëgg a NAWEC answer ñu loolu noonu please.
I think we'll answer the question ñu invite our party so I think we tried to answer the question xëy na leerul bu baax waaye li nekk di wax rek mooy ne ñun right now comme ni ko Paate waxee we have embarked on a massive maintenance programme moo tax ma wane machines yi fa nekk so soo seetee machines yi wane majority of them ñu ngi leen def on the maintenance now maintenance bi some of them they are almost complete moo tax ñu mun a confident pour joxe time ne balaa time bi some of the machines will come back yeneen ni parts yi war a ñëw comme ni ma ko waxee yaa ngi def order bi ki ko war a ship mu ne duma ko ship because fi moo jaar dafa am pour dem Jebel Ali for example in Dubai te woo mu ngi am foofu noonu affaire si du mun a ñëw machine boobu noonu duñ ko mun a taal so loolu si problème bi la bokka loolu ñun mënuñ koo contrôle fay nañ ko xaalis order neen part bi waaye moom mënu koo ship so loolu mu ngi contribute si problème bi it's a direct impact of the war in Iran so machine boobu noonu suñ ko planoon pour def ko April ba tey ñu ngi June ñu ngi xaar spare parts yi it's part of the problem loolu leen doon jéem a explain so that's an external factor another thing mooy ne woo bi dafa tax price yi double so essence bi noo dugal si machine yi is the same essence similar one bi nga dugal si generator si heavy fuel ni price bale yokkoo almost 100% noonu la price bi tamit yokkoo so dëkk yëpp si sub region bi ñi nga xam ne nu ngay jënda essence di ko lakka nu ngay wàññi loolu because suñ defut loolu dañoo am pour yokka tariffs everywhere and that is having an impact on the amount of energy be available pour nu mun koo trade so bu njëkka li daan xew mooy soo gisee almost 1 year déggu leen coow problème bu mel ni because suñ daan def maintenance ñu génnee see 5 megawatts dinañ call Sénégal rek ne yokkal 5 megawatts or ñu call Guinée ne yokkal 5 megawatts yow doo ko yëg waaye léegi soo koolee mu ne la ah man duma la ko mën a jox parce que essence bi dafa seer oo suma générateur bi dafa am lii oo problème bi xam nga so that capacity pour mun a substitute moo fa nekkaatut fekk yow tamit yaa ngi def all this maintenance so mu ngi laa affect and this is the root of the problem so moo tax but we feel ne things will get better moo tax ñu joxe an estimated time but I think ne du benn factor rek moo nekk di affect problème bi it's sort of like a geopolitical impact moo nekk di happen at a local level and in some cases dafa tax a lot of things are happening so loolu rek leen doon jéem a explain fii but I think ne it's important pour tamit ñu gën a wane some of the facts so moo tax ñu def présentation bi pare tam answer na lan moo nekk kóotu waaye nekkut ne comme amun generation yoo xam ne dañ ko nekk di neglect nekkul di invest all these years so waaye fanaa naa oo pare tam mu gën a leeral rek pour wane waa ndox bi moom Mr Diba dinañ ko invite rek pour mu ñëw waaye I think ne moo nekk di xew
jërëjëf sëriñ bi Brikama it's unfortunate li xew Brikama kerek but ñun as NAWEC soo xoolee the hospitals Jammeh Foundation Serekunda Hospital RVTH you can ask them they are in our priority list under no circumstances that those areas are switched off unless there is a technical problem Brikama ci guddi googu noonu line bi feed from Brikama Power Station all the way to Gunjur moo am an issue overnight. Our people were there pour to address that and so that the hospital, we installed a new transformer for the hospital in Brikama. Because initially the distribution network in Brikama was very bad for the hospital in particular. We engaged them to ensure that we have reliable supply for the hospital. So during that night, one of the distribution line, or the transmission we may call it, more a wire cut. So our guys could not bring it back on overnight. So the hospital was blacked out throughout because it's the only source from the power station all the way. So there was an interruption within that line. So definitely we could not have done anything. But first thing in the morning, we were able to restore supply to the Brikama Hospital. And it is not subjected to load shedding. Coming back to the problem, yes, the problem is well known, it's capacity. You know, you generate, distribute to your customers. If your generation capacity and the demand, there is a gap, and this is what we are faced with. Our available capacity is less than what the demand is. So this is the problem. Now we have a strategy because the present situation, we are into business also. We are a going concern. If I operate my generator, it will cost me $26. And I'm getting out of that maybe $10 or $14. It's not helping me. So if I am getting in Guinea during the rainy season, 14 cents, that is around $8 or so, at least I'm able to make a gain of $2. So that at least what I have in my generation capacity, I can just bring them back on with that surplus. At least going forward, it is that cannot be done in a day. You know where we are coming from. We are just in a recovery process. So I will appeal on the public to have patience with us. We are also Gambians. We know what we're going through and we know where we are going to. This has been an issue since in the 70s. And problem in 40 years cannot be solved in 10 years. It's not possible. So, and the resources that are required to do that, you have to do them in, in section. So that's what we are doing. So have patience with us. We are not only depending on what we have, but we are also depending on the OMVG system, which we are part and parcel of. Thank you.
I think all the questions have been answered. Ndox kan la, okay.
Remember the question.
Yes, I think it was, thank you very much. I think the question was why water shortage, right? Okay, thank you very much. Like the DMD already mentioned in the presentation, because it has been a long while since we have a project that built a new water treatment plant. So now that government is really investing in NAWEC in terms of water supply as well, because he already mentioned we do embark on a project. In a couple of months, you will see one of the plants will be commissioned, the one in Tujere. This is a huge project, and a lot of water production will be increased. We're talking okay, Malaka Olof, no problem, not try. Nineka kia nag deguñ Olof, so nalaka just teasing them. Okay, yeah, li ma bëgg a wax rek mooy comme deputy manager ko wax na ko wone na ko fi ne yagoon na bala ñu last water project. That was like in 2009. That is like 17 years ago. So this was really a challenge. Legi fu mu nekk ni demand bi yokku na gis nañ loolu. So legi NAWEC ak nguur bi we are trying everything. Ñu ngi def luñ mun in terms of projects. Am nañ benn project bi nga xam ne loolu is we are implementing. Legi tey boobu project boobu ñu commission ko. In a couple of months, maybe by the end of this year, I will say in 5-6 months time, that project bu ñu def Tujereng danañ ko commission. So that will make a real impact. In addition to that, another project also being ordered, Benin treatment plant in Sifo. Bobutamit also is in the Hygia. That project also is on. So by and large, and also in the networks as well, projects like in Bundung and all those things, that project also is on in terms of improve supply site. So we are doing that also. It's not that the site electricity regular, site indoor vitamin, we are doing utmost.
Thank you. I think that brings us to the end of this session. Yes. But we are about to close this session. It's almost 12 o'clock, and we have to leave this room by 12 o'clock. Unfortunately. Which one is it? There are many black phones. This one. This one. All right. Thank you very much. So thank you very much, members of the press and the public, those watching from home. I will also thank NAWEC for coming. I think NAWEC has apologized. And let me emphasize that apology to the Gambian people, that we hate finding ourselves in this situation. But it's a situation that we have no control over. And I think Gambians are very patient. But I think now we could also understand that you gave us, you said, 2 weeks. And I hope we'll not come back again. I hope that by that time we'll solve this problem. For now, we'll be patient. We'll stop complaining. And we'll give you the time and the breathing space to solve the problem. At least for the next 2 weeks. 2 weeks is nothing. It's just 14 days. So we will be patient, and we hope that the problem will be resolved within 14 days. Within 14 days. That is the promise that NAWEC has given as a roadmap. Now, but also, with the Brikama incident, the government had a project called the CESCO project, where we solarized over 1,000 schools and 100 health centers across the country. And most hospitals, I'm not sure about Brikama, have a standby generator. So we'll find out what happened, but I'm glad that this was clear that there was a technical issue which is isolated from the main problem, and I hope that wouldn't repeat itself. So we thank you for that. Mbokk numéro wax rek tay dañ amone waxtaan ak NAWEC ñepp xam nañ ne fu mu tollu ni mbiri courant bi dafa am ay jafe-jafe ne NAWEC ne ñepp xam nañ ne ñaari at yu passé jafe-jafe amutoon courant ñu ko doon am si nuñ ko wara amé emuñ si loolu waaye tamit ñu bari fa ñi nga xam ne di koy bari musuñoo am courant léegi am nañ courant jafe-jafe nag mun naa dal ku nekk mun naa dal même réew li na jafe-jafe boo xam ne la kenn séentuwu ko te kenn bëggut ko te NAWEC ñoo nañ fii te ñu ne ñu ngi jégalu askan bi te ñu ngi def seen kéemtalaay kàttan pour gis ne balaa ñaari semaine wala ñetti semaine ñu régler problème bi te ñu ngi jigalu ne lii kenn séentuwu ko du seen coobare lii am waaye mbiri courant mbiri technique la léegi-léegi yow loo yaakaar ak lan mooy sa mbébét daf di ute ak li am te fu mu toll nii loolu moo ñu dal kon ñu ngi wax askan bi ne ñu ngi leen a jégalu ñu ngi siy liggéey bu baax a baax sax guddee bëccëg pour gis ne ñu régler problème bi kon nag askan bi xamee noonu moo tax te ñoom waxtaan bi ak nawek mbaɗigol mbal tentula mbal jeela ka foko binna kacanga nawek la inverja mbawa mbinga kala muta ko kole a kolle ɓe kerin kurangola soto bundato nawek ɗum e kumande bi yena sada gambenole mune ɓe kerin foñin kole a kuol keta e natal ɗum ya sata bari fana yemin fo e ko ibar hakka danila altol gambeddigol nawek la wajibun ten ela gandiyo fana nden pour kaje ko ñin kole a kuol sotota bari kole a ɗum nakana watu leɓe ka kunoje natta nawek drombulu ani mansakunda drombulu bi mote fola korongola gambe bankun kan wala na investment sol keta pour kaje ko saate dolbe gambe kabring cuk enen man korongo soto bar bibe korongo soto le woto nit ñi sifal keta akuma dalem banku dingol besi kafunyo kan ngaje ko kolya kolon hannin korda ko nin kola ko nara hannya tara mantara diaring bari nin kolya nara mbeka kafunyo kan nga kolya nga tamandi nyanda ka tamandi nyame amanke mola nganeti mansa kundara nganiyonten amanke nok na nganet pour kajo ko nyin kola bari man kunoje fana mati nebe siring ita solve wala nawek lolong suta tin tili iba kan kajo ko lolong nganyim problème mo solve and yalla hido diko janding lokung fula lokung saba me problème mo nyin solve la le iba kata ko kanne kajo ko problème mo solve woto mbal haka dan la mba fula mobe munya nga sabaro muta kaje ko amu kulte mialon ko amanke na nganeti andum kulon fana man kuno je fana bari be do ko kam pour kaje ko problème o ñe solve woto nawek mbal tentu la mbal jela mide household fana mbal tentu la mbal jela altolon na do ko ñolti mansakunda ni laftela mansakunda ta nyata yurwani midele ka ñomonta ale do ko ke bawo mansakunda mu karafa lolati ni modu e karafa fenna be lafla kalon wo karafa ko ya muta nyame andu mansakunda tano sate to kata ka fo mole ngalla karafo muta nyame bari media don wolon ka wolle kiyal kan yeta nal si kacha bari fana alfana ka media king kan ka fon tole monala kolle akot anala wasiyolti fana kalon bawlo mansakunda la nafati pour ka banko dingola problème solve kajo ko banko dingole jiosoto anyama wana mansakunda wasi project ke e ming launch sifo million killing citizen ol melon ko benefit la nyen joto in urban Gambia million killing nanda kalon kabring 65 for nga investment minke jobunda mansia and population no fanan grotale bawo niata da be ye jibinda sur la korda ko ne din sabale soto ani musu killing wo jibinde ma warne musu sabanata nin di muang jibinda killingo dalon jote sila wala na population no ka gro nyame masakunda fanan ka planning ke wala nya and tonga mi inherit there was no planning sande masakunda ray roadmap soto planning keta kaje ko population no bita ka nyamen kuran ko fanan be sula la wala nya bunjelo da Gambia bankun kan kabren president baronada o mo ka yiro wala woti tada dawoda mol bungol lokan apartment lo la bungol lo wobe ka sula kuran population ka gro nyamen mo ka sula jola wala nya anin kuran anin lopitano ni karambongol nin silol an masakunda tonya la kata ko kele ba kan le fana ngasilol millo anene man soto kabring jawara anin jamme min lota silo kilomita keme seyle lota silo sanga min lo keme kilomita woli killing anin keme saba nga woli killing keme lo do fana commission karambongol millo loku wo lokon karambong ila classroom tangning killing ka wala lo pour kaje ko jam fo boli banna karambong soto je fodi ngode tamala karal la jan kata karon soto l'hôpital lota dulal beto jiolbe ajibe ni tata bante be pa ballandi kanne pour kaje ko josto do labi fananto banko ka do ko banko ka do ko tili killing tubabo ko Rome was not built in one day akaw time o tale ntol ba kala le hannin presse mbaro dañu do ko bannola hannin presse manara sanni tanyado problème so la Gambe banko kan nim mol sita fo problème mon so ko tanke wolo ngala la bagol pangal wolo mbe falal ni defon hadama nga wulta sama nay yalla ko bi mom problème hani kilin soto yalla bago sari la mon la de wolo katale oto problème mo de banna bari na sorata al nga solve citizenol al si complain no problem bani me complain kam fanan mbamba ya mala minna ngaka kuluwo kono ani horomoni bunya kono bawo bi ni mo do ko la nawek afana mo dimbati yolti banko dingolo abe do ko la bari ka ne ka doya because abala do ko la o fana manke siloti hani kabe mbal hakke danela ka foko nyimmu kolti mi alon ka manken na kuti mi alon ko ngani laftay ke ba nawek nata janna bi kata ando metentu lambe jela wolo mansa kundade mansa konen banko dingol ka kacale e buka bori banko de ni ka kacale nimpolo na foy ko nyebe ki hal dimbati yo nimpolo mo sore ki ne e ke ko la na siya to nya foy de paso biara soro la de bimbe saji be kala nyame banko e dimbal salon ba de paso man sore pan soro bunkono cocole be siala banda ko rabe wala nya nawek maten to lamba jela banko dingol fana mbaten to lamba jela ale mo nyoni sabaro mi muta kaje ko nyim problème mba solve la le ko nga problème dol solve nyame ferol ti nyata janne kari danta feri man soto fonka nyo sikan ka nyoke kulu ningol kono bi man problème solve ma solve le wala nyim problème fana be solve la le o dala baraka bake fo wati ko te